Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now, your host, Ace.
Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. This is the Tuesday underreaction show with Ace and Gdad.
Hey, folks, good evening. How are you? I hope you had a good weekend. I know that the Uptown Parlay show on Thursday gave you some good picks. I hope you followed them, and I hope you won some money. Thanksgiving. Oh, Halloween is coming first. Going to be able to buy a nice costume so you can go out.
We're not doing that. It's not even October yet. No. Do you work? Do you work for the Halloween companies? Like, I don't understand.
Hey, I see Thanksgiving advertisements in the supermarket
Do you
and
own a
Stop and
spirit
Shop.
store?
You know what
Like
I'm saying?
in Stop
The,
and Shop? Well, I don't
the,
work for them.
See,
So
we live in New York. The liquor store,
uh,
not the spirit store, the liquor stores already have Thanksgiving colors in their windows. So, what can I tell you,
they
dude?
got liquor stores everywhere. You're not out west where they buy their booze at a Walgreens.
Where you're at, though, they call spirits, the package store, whatever
No,
the heck
no.
that is.
Spirit is the Spirit Halloween store where they pop up and all of a sudden they got like 95,000 costumes
Oh,
and they
okay.
take over some like old Radio Shack or Best Buy or Circuit
Mm-hmm.
City. And then that hasn't been torn down yet. And then they turn it into,
A Halloween
Halloween
shop for
store
a
for the
minute.
next 2 months. And then they turn it into a Christmas tree shops
I hear you.
after that. I'm going to start this show with a new game. I'm going to ask you a question.
And I'm going to give you an answer.
And I'm going to give me an answer. I have a list of the top 10 passers by passing yards in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
1 through 10.
Okay.
How many do you think you can name?
Let me see if I can do 10.
You see, you're going to go for 10. You're going
In
to go
the
for them all.
in the 90s,
That's 90 to 99.
90 to 99. Who
Back when
played
you
in
were
the
watching
90s?
football. So
Instead of taking,
everybody, to think about
and
everybody who was drafted just before the 90s in the mid 80s or the late
okay,
80s or in
let's go.
1990.
Um,
Go ahead.
what's his name? Brady.
Tom Brady did not play in the 90s.
He didn't start in the 90s.
Tom Brady was in college and in high school in the
He played
90s.
20 years. Okay.
He played from
Um,
2000 to 2022.
wait a minute. What's his name? The oldest Manning brother.
That is incorrect.
That's incorrect too.
He came into the league in
Okay.
1999, so he did
Let
not
me
lead the league in passing in the 90s. Who led the league? Who played
hold
all
on.
10 years of the
Okay,
90s?
okay. Let me go back. Um, um. Oh God, I can't remember the name. Okay. Cunningham has to be one of my Phillies. No.
Wrong.
Okay.
There's only one black quarterback on the list.
They got Juan Moon.
Correct. He's number 3 with
Okay, Juan Moon.
30,817 yards in
Okay.
122 games.
What's his name? I can't remember their name. The little guy in New Orleans.
The little guy in New Orleans.
Yeah,
That's a good. Okay, he did play in New Orleans, but what's his name though?
I can't remember his name.
Do you remember the number?
What's his number? 6, 8, 8?
No, that is not the in New
Is it
Orleans.
16? Yeah, who's the quarterback when New Orleans Saints were winning? Okay, how
That
about
would be Jim Everett.
No, how about Archie Manning?
This is the 90s, not the 70s, but
Not the
no.
70s.
This
Okay,
is the 90s. Think about who played in the 90s and who
the
was a star
90s.
on TV doing commercials.
Phil Simms.
He did not make the top 10 list.
He didn't. Okay,
No. There's a
I
guy,
can't.
there's three people who are on ESPN who you used to see all the time.
I
One
can't.
who just got fired, actually.
I can't think of them. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You got one. You got the
Who do
one
you
black
got?
guy. So
Who
I
do
see
you
where your
got?
biases lie.
Yeah.
Dan Marino, number 1.
Marina played in the 90s. I thought he played in the 80s. That's my okay.
He
All right.
retired in 99, so that's
Hold
how he
on.
got
Okay.
there.
Okay. Now I'm up now. Okay.
Okay.
There's Marino.
Okay.
There's oh God, I can't remember his name. He went to UCLA out of Oklahoma. He
Mm-hmm.
played for Dallas. He
Mm-hmm.
got 3 Super Bowls.
You're
He does
describing everything about him. He
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 does
works for
it.
ESPN on Monday Night
Yes,
Football.
yes, and he worked for Channel Fox for a little while as the main
Troy,
guy. Troy Aikman.
I'll give you that
He's
one. That's
one.
that's that's so you got 3. So you got
Okay.
2.
Um,
He's number 5 on the list with 29,000 yards, which is the majority of his whole career.
that's the only one I can think of.
He lost in the Super Bowl until he won at the end of his career.
I don't know. Oh, you're
Denver.
talking about Elway.
Correct. He's number 4 on the list.
I keep thinking these guys are older than they are.
I mean,
These
that's
guys
pretty. I
are,
mean, you got to understand, if they're in their 50s and 60s now,
yeah,
they would have been in their 20s 30 years
right.
ago.
They're in their 50s now.
Yeah. So
Um,
35, 34 years ago,
and
they were 25.
Marino wasn't one of them.
Marino's number 1.
Oh, okay. So I
Warren
got
Moon's number
Marino.
3. Troy
I
Aikman's
got
number
Moon,
5. Elway's
Aikman.
number 4.
Uh-huh. I have no idea. You have to give me the rest.
Steve Young, number 6.
Oh God, how can I forget Steve Young, number
Brett Favre,
7?
number 5.
I
He still owes me
apologize.
money.
I apologize to those guys.
Jeff George,
I would have never thought Jeff George.
Drew Bledsoe, 25,000 yards, and he only got drafted in the middle of the. He got drafted in '94, which is impressive.
And he played 100 years.
He did. He played until he's a 3-decade guy. I think he played until 2009. He retired in 09.
Okay.
Vinny Testaverde, the Miami legend, Long Island's own.
Should have known Testaverde.
And Testaverde only had 25,000 yards, and Jim Everett for the
I
LA Rams, and he finished his career with the New Orleans Saints, number 17.
Never guessed Everett.
Yeah, the guy who threw down Jim Rome after that interview because he kept calling him Chris Everett.
My hero.
23,481 yards.
My man, Jim Everett, is a hero. That obnoxious, ignorant Jim Rome. I don't know why he was on TV, except he was obnoxious and they assumed people wanted to see stupidity, so they gave him a show.
He's a legend. He's a legend on sports radio. Now, do you think you can do the 2010s?
Yeah, let's do the 2000s.
Okay.
Let me see what I can do.
2010s. So this is 2010 to 2020. Yeah.
Oh,
2019. We could do the 2000s. Yeah. We could do 2000 to 2009.
No, how about 2000? Okay, you're going by a decade.
Yeah.
Okay, the first part of the 2000s. Is Phil Simms?
No.
He's in the 2000s?
Phil Simms never had that many passing yards.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Not that good. There are no Sims on the list. I know you're a Giants fan, but stop being a homer.
Okay. I can't, but okay. Me and Phil Rizzuto. New Yorkers forever. Oh God, I can't remember the
You named him previously because you thought he played in the 90s.
I can't remember his name now.
Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah, Peyton Manning.
42,000 yards.
Yeah.
From 99 to from 2000 to 2009.
Yeah. Now the little guy who played in number 8, he played in New Orleans.
Yeah, number 9, but you were close. I know who you're thinking of. I'll give you another hint. He got cut by San Diego.
Yeah, and broke his arm in San Diego and then went to New Orleans. I know all the details. I just can't remember.
Drew.
I don't remember his last name.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, right. He has to be one of
30,646 yards.
Our boy
number
New
5.
England, yeah, our boy in New England has to be one of them.
Actually, no. He didn't make the list for 2000s. He didn't have a lot of passing yards in the beginning. Okay. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I take that back. That's insane. He's number 4.
Okay.
Tom Brady. You could just say the name Brady. 30,844 yards. There's 2 people ahead of him that are pretty surprising.
Roethlisberger.
No.
He's not on the list?
He didn't make the list for 2000s.
He's not on the list?
He's not he's below number 10.
Wow.
There's 2 black quarterbacks on the list. I'll give you that hint.
That's all I can remember.
And 1 former Giant on the list.
The guy the quarterback that played for Philly took him to the Super Bowl and lost.
Donovan McNabb.
McNabb from Syracuse.
He's directly above Tom Brady, 31,925 yards.
I can't remember anybody else.
Dante Culpepper.
Wow, I'm surprised that big dwarf made the list.
24,000 yards. And he only got drafted in 1990. He came into the league, I want to say, in 2002.
They should have made him a tight end. He's a big scrub as a quarterback.
That's ridiculous.
That's my 2 cents.
Kurt Warner.
Yes.
Right behind Drew Brees.
Yes, Kurt Warner out of LA.
Kerry Collins, who took the Giants to the Super Bowl and they lost in the year 2000.
I would have never got that.
26,792 yards. Matt Hasselbeck, who took Seattle to the Super Bowl and lost in 2007.
No wonder he's on ESPN. They think he can play.
and a guy who was on ESPN4. I think he calls games now. Actually, I don't. He's on like the 5th or 6th most popular game if you have Sunday Ticket, and you watch them all. Trent Green,
Really?
former Kansas City Chief, former St. Louis Ram back in the day.
I wouldn't have never remembered that. The
All
problem
right.
is that in the 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of the games, but I didn't concentrate on the people.
I can
You
tell.
know, life was going on.
I got you.
Next,
But
next segment, please.
yeah, we're gonna close out of that. I just wanted to. I thought that was interesting. I wanted to see how much you remembered.
I'm
What's
gonna
up?
be better prepared next time because now I know you're asking these
Oh
questions.
no, I'm just testing you randomly. I'm gonna give you stuff I know you're not gonna get. So it's a
Okay.
little unfair on my part, but
That
still.
no, that's okay. Gdad got big shoulders. He can handle it.
Okay. We're gonna talk about 8 games from the pros. I'm gonna talk about mostly teams that I think that are gonna make the playoffs.
Let's go.
So we are gonna start with
You want to? Well, why don't we start with a little recap of the underwhelming? Since this is the underreaction show, let's talk about the underreaction from last Sunday.
fair.
The Giants underappreciated, underacted, underperformed, and overly beaten up. They didn't surprise me. Cincinnati surprised me, underwhelming.
Mm.
They were awful. The Jets, as far as I'm concerned, underwhelming. San Francisco ran them out of the gym, as they say back in the day.
They did.
So they were underwhelming to me. Carolina, with this kid at quarterback who can't see over, it's like Drew Brees. They can't see over the linemen. They get linemen who are
Don't
7 feet tall and they can't see over them.
don't compare him to Drew Brees because Drew Brees was good off top. He was good in San
Well,
Diego and he was good in New Orleans.
that's because the coaches devised plays that he could get the passes off. He didn't have to worry about looking over
Brees
anybody's
was
head.
accurate and
And
he could throw. This
and
guy
the,
cannot throw.
he can throw. Look at the guy. Look at the little guy in Phoenix. They devise plays
Murray.
where he can throw that sidearm and get it past them 7 foot guys playing defensive. It's a
Fair.
coaching issue. That's why that kid is having problems.
But back to Monday Night Football.
So those are
Yeah.
underwhelming. Those are underwhelming games to me.
What did you think of Aaron Rodgers' play?
I think Aaron Rodgers is done. I
Really?
don't. Yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy. He needs a basketball analogy. He needs to go to a good team.
Hmm.
He can't go to a bad team. He's not going to make a bad team better. You can build a team around him like they did initially in Green Bay, but he took over a good team. The Jets are not a good team. Okay, if he'd have gone to a Detroit or Miami or Philly or something or Seattle,
So he's an additive piece. He's a piece that
yes,
makes your team better, but he's not the person that's going to make it all him.
he's not going to make your team better. He's going to continue your team at the top.
Oh, so he's like, okay, I see what you're saying.
So if you're already on the rise, he's going to rise with you and keep you rising. He's not going to tear you down.
Gotcha.
But I don't think he's not going to make you better per se.
Yeah.
That's just my 2 cents. So
Okay.
I don't see the Jets winning more than 5 or 6 games, if that many.
Really?
Yeah, despite the so-called easy schedule they have. I just don't see them do. They don't have the running back. They don't have the wide receivers to help Rodgers. There's no synchronization in that team, so I just don't see it.
I got you. That is fair.
So,
what did you think of the Chicago and the Chicago versus Tennessee?
interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
There are not many games in the recent future
Mm-hmm.
where you score almost 30 points without an offensive touchdown. Okay. The quarterback is cool and collected. He apparently is the leader on that team. They're willing to follow him into the fire right now. He had a bad game. He's a rookie. The one thing about, guys can play great in the gym or in the park, but when you play against pros or All-Americans, you realize not only are they bigger, they're quicker and they're faster and they're stronger.
Yes.
And if you're unable to keep up, so when you go in football, when you go from college, even D1, and you go to the pros, you have to get used to the speed, the way things happen. You got 2.7 seconds from hiking the ball to the ball being downfield 30 yards. That's quick. That guy, the wide receiver's got to be downfield 30 yards in 2 seconds. The quarterback has 0.7 seconds to throw it and get it to him. You have to get used to that speed. And Williams is going to get used to the speed. He's got the skills. He's got the mental intelligence. He's got the wherewithal. He's got the emotional maturity. I think listen, they may win 10 or 12 games this year. They got a heck of a defense. They got weapons for him. He went to a good team.
Yeah.
He's one of the few
rookie
quarterbacks that went to a good team would have a chance to win right away. He didn't go to a lousy team.
Okay. That's fair.
So for you Bear fan, I know you guys also talk about 86, 85 Bears, the Bars. Well, I don't know if they're going to be the Bars, but they will definitely be the Bears.
Okay. I don't know what that voice was, but all right.
Wait a minute, you don't like my announcer voice, ladies and gentlemen?
What did you think of the Eagles and the Packers game, and how much? And yeah,
I saw like 90% of that game. The Eagles again, the quarterback had a bad game. They won.
Okay.
He had a bad game. He's going to get better. The Packers up and coming team. I think they're still growing emotionally because at that level, everything is mental, it's emotional. They're still growing. Until he got hurt, there was a chance that they might even win the game, but they certainly kept it close. They gave the Eagles a hard time, partly because the Eagle quarterback wasn't hitting on it. He wasn't doing well. But the Eagles are a bad team now because he don't have to do well all the time, as you can see from Sunday's game.
Yeah.
They have Mr. SB.
Yes.
And SB is stealing all the bases.
Yeah.
Okay. The good thing about him is he can still run. He's quick. He can fill a hole. He can make a cut to avoid the tackle.
Yes.
And he can catch the ball. A running back that can do those three things: hit the hole hard, cut to avoid tackles, and catch the ball.
And pass block if necessary.
And block. You know, he's not like who's the guy, the running back, the big dude that was in Tennessee, is now in Baltimore.
Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can pass block.
He can block. He can run. He can run over you.
Yes.
He can't run and cut past you, and he's not a pass catching back out the backfield.
Yeah, they don't need him to do all that. He's 250 pounds.
That's what makes SB Saquon so valuable in Philly.
That's fair.
Got to pass and attack.
I still can't get over the fact that the Giants let him go over $2 million.
Well,
isn't that insane?
Well, they got a rookie for a nickel, and they think he's going to be able to do the same thing. And he might, except the Giants need an O-line, and they need a quarterback. And most importantly, they need a new coach.
That's fair.
Mr. D got to go.
Daboll.
Got to go.
What did you think? And this is the last game I wanted you to recap for the last week. Cowboys Browns. How did you see any of that game, or did you see how bad Deshaun Watson was? Because he did get sacked 6 times.
I saw the whole game.
Okay.
I cannot blame Deshaun Watson for the game.
Why?
When you get sacked all the time, when you get rushed all the time, when you get hurried all the time, when you get knocked down, and when I say all the time, at least 50% of the time that he got the ball, he was rushed, he was harried, he was knocked down, he was sacked. So I'm blaming the offense for that. Dallas has a lot of weapons. To me, they got a mediocre quarterback in Dax. Dax, to me, is James Harden in the
$60 million man.
He's James Harden in the NFL. Like Westbrook, they'll get you triple doubles and they'll get you 40 million points.
But you'll never win.
They don't win. The same thing with the little guy that I don't like.
Kyrie.
No, he's now in San Antonio. Everybody thinks he's such a great guard or whatever.
I don't know who you're talking about, actually.
Yeah, the guy he's famous for hitting people in the groin when he's playing defense.
Oh, Pat Beverly is gone.
No, not Beverly. Well,
Grayson.
when I remember his name, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But so
Oh, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
That's who you.
Chris
yeah.
Paul, okay.
Wow. You think he's
Mr. Nutter Butter himself? Okay.
Oh, word.
That's as far as
word. Okay.
So yeah. So we'll see what happens. But so that's Dax to me. But he's a mediocre quarterback with great team around him. And apparently good coaching, even I'm not a fan of it's McCormack, right?
McCarthy.
McCarthy. I'm not a fan of McCarthy, though I love Irish women. I'm not a fan of McCarthy.
What? No one asked that question.
I'm just saying.
You're just putting it out there for the streets to hear.
There you go. The first woman I ever fell in love with at 11 years old was an Irish girl.
Okay? No one asked that question.
Well, there you go. I'm letting you know,
all right.
Okay? Giving a little flavor to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
He's got, he's got CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
He's got Ezekiel. He's got the new running back that's probably better than Ezekiel. And he's got a great offensive line. He got good coaching. They got a great defense. Apparently, nobody can stop Mr. Parsons. So we'll see what happens. But Dallas is going to win 10 or 12 games. And again, they're losing the playoffs, either because the owner is just too involved with the team, or the coach can't get them over the hump, or Dax to do something stupid. But,
all right.
So that's why I see Dallas. Cleveland is going to get better. They got a defense themselves. They made a mistake letting they had another pass rush on the other side. A kid who was good. He's not mentally in the game. I think he's now in Baltimore too.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they let him go, but they still got DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, and that's kind of all they need.
Not Michael Parsons, number 85 in Cleveland.
Oh, 95. No. 95. Micah Parsons is on Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking. Yeah, that's not Micah. That's
they had Clowney and 95 on opposite ends. But
yeah.
Clowney is like
he's in Carolina now.
Yeah, guys that got great talent.
Yeah.
They're just not mentally mature. They're just not ready to play ball.
Oh, he's always ready to play. It's just that nobody wants to pay him the price that he wants for former number 1 overall pick too.
I disagree. I think people wanted him to play, but I don't think he's just not mentally mature to play football. It's like I'm trying to think of this basketball player.
More of a selfish player.
No. It was a 7-footer, came into the league, a lot of talent, a lot of skills, but he just didn't have it. He just didn't feel like playing all the time. He was a bad influence in the locker room. That's how Clowney is.
Oh, like DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, he's a bad influence.
Super talented, but just never brings it all the time.
There you go. That's him. I
get what you're saying.
And Clowney he's just as good as 95 on the other side. They had both of them, and he had the determination and the will to be a ball player. There would be a great defense. He's not.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get into the picks for this week.
All right, folks, we're going to win you some money. This is week 2 coming up in the NFL and week 3 in the college. So let's see what Gdad picks are going to be. Ace, who you got coming up first?
We got Kansas City hosting Cincinnati.
I'm telling folks, take Kansas City, give the 6 points. If it's still 6 by now.
I agree with you. The line hasn't moved. It's exactly 6 still with MGM, DraftKings, and FanDuel. So the 3 biggest sports books in America still got it the same. Tampa Bay and Detroit, 2 teams that won their first week.
Okay, what's the spread?
That is a very good question. No, give me 1 second. I think they're playing at 1:00, so I had to scroll up.
Okay. I think I picked the under on that one. What's the under for that?
You did pick the under on that one.
Okay.
The Lions are favored by 7 points because the Lions are at home, which is
I
kind of
say,
nuts. One
yeah,
o'clock.
yeah. And what's the under?
The over
36.
under is 45 and a half.
Take the
51.
under.
Over
Take the
under is
under.
51.
Okay, I'm not going to touch who's going to win unless you pick Detroit straight up, folks. If you're picking Detroit straight up for money, fine, but I'm not going to cover. Um, but
I would,
I'm
yeah,
taking the under.
I would take Detroit. That makes sense to me.
Detroit straight up. I'm not going to take the 7, but I'll take them straight up for money, and I'm taking the under. Next game.
I think that might end in a push, but I think Detroit could beat them by a touchdown. Buffalo at Miami.
Take Buffalo. Give up the 3.
Buffalo is getting 3 points.
Right,
It's on this Thursday.
Yeah, take the 3 with Buffalo.
I'm saying go with Miami. The fact that Josh Allen had to do all that work by himself in that first game, that's too much and it's not sustainable. And even though they lost Christian Wilkins in the middle, Seiler is enough of a pass rush and enough of a problem. They won't be able to run on them. And Miami's linebackers are good. They are really good. And Chubb is a great pass rusher on the outside.
Miami has a good defense. I agree. But I don't know that they're going to be able to physically stop the run from Buffalo. Buffalo's going to run on them and tear them up, and maybe once in a while throw a pass. I see that as a game plan against Miami and Buffalo. Buffalo is a big, strong, hit them in the face team. Miami is a fancy dancy, toss the ball around with fancy trick plays team.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't believe in. I'll tell you this, which is most important. I think Buffalo secondary is their weakest spot, and that's really where they're going to be in trouble. The only thing that they have going for them is their two top running backs for the Dolphins, Achane and Mostert. They both have injury designations.
Oh, okay.
So we will see about that.
Well, I'm telling people take Buffalo and give the points.
I'm saying go with Miami. Calais Campbell is also on the Miami Dolphins this year, so that's a huge push for them in the middle. Next up, we got Houston at Chicago. No, wait, I'm sorry. Chicago at Houston. Both of these teams won their first game. Chicago, I believe, is getting, at this point, no, that line, well, I believe it went up, yeah. Chicago's getting 6.5 now. So Houston now has to win by 7. Houston's got to win by a full touchdown.
Where's my pen? Okay. I'm still taking Houston.
Really?
Yeah. Chicago has to start blending. It's just the kid's second game. They're going to get better. They're going to still win 10 or 12 games, I think. But I got to go with Houston.
All right. That's fair.
Go with Houston. Who's next up?
Next up, we have, let's stick to the good games. Actually, let's pick the worst game of the week. If you're picking this game for your survival pool, I feel bad for you. The Washington Commanders
against the Giants.
Against the Giants.
In DC.
In DC.
Take Washington.
DC is favored by 1.5, so it's basically a pick'em.
What's the over-under?
No idea. 44.
Okay. 44.
No one's going to score any points.
Yeah, take the under.
20-7.
If that much.
That's a great bet, actually.
Take the under and take Washington.
So Washington's going to win, and they're not going to cross 44 points together.
You just said 20-7.
That's fair. That actually could be a legitimate score. Absolutely. Or 21-14.
Yeah,
would be the most I could see, because that would mean that 5 touchdowns are scored, and I don't think either team is competent enough to do that.
Not unless Drabel scores 3 of them. The little fat stuff running on the field.
Oh man, the Rams at the Cardinals.
Okay, I'm taking the Rams. They're plus 1.5.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
Okay, why? Because they're home. Because
they're home and Puka Nacua is hurt. So unlike Nacua is not going to play for sure.
I got you for the next 2 weeks. But the Rams played 49-51 against in terms of strength against
in Buffalo. Yeah.
No. In Detroit.
Yes.
Yeah, they played them almost even. And Detroit
Yes.
has got to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams this year.
They just used their offensive line and just pushed them
Yeah.
around in overtime to get that touchdown, which was impressive.
Right. And I'm going with the Rams because of that.
All
Okay.
right.
And I think the Rams have a better coach than Phoenix.
Okay. 2 teams with new head coaches, both 1-0. We are going to go with the Seahawks at the Patriots. The Seahawks are a road favorite. The Patriots are getting
wow.
3.5 points at home.
I'm going with Seattle.
You're going with Seattle.
That's a hard pick.
Yeah. The over-under for that game is 38.
Because I hate the Patriots.
Because they know that the Patriots don't have a good offense. And I don't know if Seattle will just be able to score on them at will. I do think that Seattle should be able to stop them from scoring. I just don't know. I would take the under, actually. As crazy as that sounds, I would take the under. Kenneth Walker is hurt for Seattle, so they're not going to have as good of a running game unless the backup is also pretty solid. So that kind of worries me. But I think Seattle will win. But I could see them winning by less than 3 points. I could easily see that.
And what's the spread? Did you see it?
The spread is minus 3.5 for Seattle. So Seattle's got to win by. Patriots are underdogs.
Oh, okay.
They're home dogs.
Take Seattle. I always bet against the Patriots. That's the Raiders and the Patriots. I bet against, even if I lose money. So you have to bet with your heart sometimes.
I would take the Pats at home. I think this game is going to be a test for them because it's not an AFC team, and Seattle is coming all the way across country to play them. So they won their first game. So we'll see.
Keep in mind, New England won its first game because Blondie, I don't know what the hell happened to Blondie. Okay,
Burrow played pretty bad.
Yeah, maybe he thought he was a movie star or whatever after having a couple of good years and making a lot of money. But Blondie came in and snuck up the place. Mr. Chase played, and he just come back. Hadn't practiced or anything. He played well. They lost the other wide receiver, but I don't know what's going on with them.
All right.
They're a little confused.
And last, and hopefully not least, we have the 0-1 Jets at the 0-1 Tennessee Titans in Nashville, 1:00. The Jets are favored by 3.5.
Do you know? I didn't even,
I know you didn't write that down.
Oh, that's right. I hadn't picked them.
Oh, you picked Cleveland and Jacksonville.
I'm not touching that one.
That's fair. Let's go to Cleveland and Jacksonville then.
And no, in fact, I'm gonna take Tennessee.
Wow.
I have to take Tennessee because the Jets are just too bad for me.
You think the Tennessee Titans will beat them?
What's the spread?
The Jets have to win by 4 points. The Jets are favored by 4.
I think they're gonna beat them.
Wow.
I think that they have a rookie quarterback, and their rookie came in. He's the only rookie that went.
Oh no, this is his second year. This is his second year.
I still consider him a rookie. And he's the only rookie that's on a lousy team.
All right.
He's a rookie on one of the rookies on a lousy team. I don't know what to tell you, but that's my 2 cents.
I think Rodgers has enough, and he's comfortable with enough players on the offense for them. The fact that they scored 3 touchdowns last night impressed me because San Francisco would have blanked them with any other quarterback. He made some bad throws. He looked old, but he stayed upright, and the offensive line was good enough. And they actually did score first, which surprised me. I didn't expect them to score the first touchdown.
I think they scored first because San Francisco. You know how you go in the gym and you see a kid, a little skinny, scrawny kid, you think, I got him. And then the kid busts you up because he has game and you forgot, And I think that's why they did. San Francisco said, oh, we got these guys. They ain't no good. They're lousy the last 2 years. And then the Jets said, wait a minute, we're not that scrawny kid. Boom, and shocked them.
I'll say this: the Jets are good, but they're not great. So I get your point.
Yeah, I give them a 5.
I'll give them. They're at a 6.5 right now. They're at a 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean Rodgers can't really move that well, and their offensive line isn't amazing, but it's good enough. And the run game was a little shaky. The fumble really hurt them. That set them back huge. Had that not happened, maybe the score would have been a little bit closer, but they still ultimately probably would have lost. Those are the mistakes that they got to clean up.
Okay.
But the defense has no pass rush, so that does kind of scare me.
So you got the Jets.
I got the Jets winning that game, even though both teams' pass rush is not great. But I expect Rodgers to be able to get rid of the ball quicker. He's not going to make the same mistake Caleb Williams had. And after getting a whole game underneath his belt and playing against a team like San Francisco with 3 really good pass rushers and an amazing defense, I think they'll be able to get at Tennessee a lot easier. Tennessee has some veterans, but they're mostly on the defensive side.
Well, next Monday night.
Well, a couple of wide receivers, but yeah.
Next Monday night, when all my winners come in and all our listeners around the world win money in time for Halloween, okay, we're going to see who's the better picker, Ace.
All right.
You ready for the college?
Let's go to the college.
Hit it, Ace, hit it.
Buffalo is going to UMass.
Take Buffalo and give up the 5.
All right. Oregon State, the Civil War.
I'm going with Oregon.
I'm going with Oregon State.
If you know anything historically about Oregon and how it developed as a state, you should go look it up. It's really a civil war, but that's a whole nother issue. But I'm picking Oregon. So you history buffs, get on Google, get out your books because there aren't encyclopedias anymore, but get on Google and find out how Oregon developed and how they decided who should live where and why. Next game.
That is interesting. Oh, Buffalo is at home in that game, and they're favored by 5 points.
Take Buffalo.
If I didn't mention that.
Absolutely.
Already.
Buffalo.
All right. We are moving back up to the Power 5, the SEC. It is where College Game Day is going to be at LSU at South Carolina, my new favorite team.
I say take LSU, give up the 7.
Really?
LSU lost in a poorly coached, poorly managed game, and if he doesn't win, they're going to run him out of town.
That's fair. They will fire that man. Well, actually, it's his second season, so I don't know if they'll fire him.
If he doesn't win against Carolina after losing so badly last week, they can run him out of town.
A home dog in the SEC. It's hard for me to pick against that. I liked what their quarterback did. They were on the road in Kentucky. Kentucky loses a bunch of SEC games in a row. But LSU has a lot on them in terms of talent. Right. But I think they actually like playing for their coach in South Carolina.
Well, let me say this to you.
And they're getting 7 points in there at home. So at worst, I think that might be a push. But I would take Carolina. I would take Kakalaka, South Carolina.
You got it. Just because you're in the SEC, they'll make you good.
It does when you beat other SEC teams.
Just because I hang out with Denzel Washington doesn't make me handsome. Okay.
Fair enough. I like that. I like that. I like that analogy.
Okay.
All right. Alabama at Wisconsin.
Giving up 16. Take Alabama with the 16. And
under is 50. Do you think it goes over 50?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
I see Alabama scoring 50 by themselves. You know why? The coach of Alabama has got to have these kids soup up. He's taken Lou Saban's spot. Nick Saban has become the greatest coach of all time. Better than Switzer, better than Bear Bryant, better than
he won 7 national titles.
I'm just saying, he's better than Spurrier. He's better than Hayes in Ohio State. You know, he's better than Schembecker in Michigan. You know, so all of a sudden he's God. So this guy has got to have these people working so that, you know, he
can't lose a game.
Not only not lose a game, he's got to crush people. And that's why I'm picking Alabama. And I'm picking the over.
Well, considering that Alabama almost fought USF to a draw until they got lucky and USF said, I guess we're just going to stop playing defense the last 8 minutes of the game.
I hear what you're saying.
And Alabama scored 4 touchdowns.
Keep in mind.
In the fourth quarter, of which I think this is really important. They scored 3 in the last 6 minutes of the game. The score was 21-16 until 6 minutes or less to go. And then all of a sudden, Alabama just scored 3 touchdowns, got very lucky.
That's why the game's 60 minutes long. Okay.
And Bama was at home.
Yeah,
Bama was at home.
That's okay. I hear what you're saying. The bottom line is they kept playing at that level. So when the other team lets down even a minute, boom, you get to score 3 touchdowns in 5 minutes.
Fair enough. So I think Wisconsin will keep it closer. I think they can lose by only 2 touchdowns.
And Wisconsin doesn't score. They got their defensive line, especially the offensive line, them guys up there, they recruit them. They all eat cheese and corn and whatever the hell they all grow so damn big. They get in the NFL. They play 20 years in the NFL. They're great players, but nobody scores for them.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Nobody scores for them.
Next up, we got Boston College at Missouri. Boston College is getting 17 points on the road in Columbia, Mizzou.
Take Mizzou. I'm taking Mizzou because I see Boston College won last week, but they, I don't. And who is that? O'Brien is the new coach.
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Former Penn State head coach, former Texans head coach.
He's a good coach. He's a good coach, and he's got these kids playing well. Primarily because he comes from the pros now. He's got a lot of connections, and he can tell them, listen, I can introduce you to so and so. I can get you an invite to play someplace else. So these kids are really souped up. It's like they act like they're playing for Alabama or something, or Clemson or Michigan, where they're going to go to the pros. But he's got them playing well.
A lot of guys do go to the pros out of
a lot of linebackers
out of BC.
A lot of linebackers, a lot of linemen. But but
a couple of receivers every now and again.
Yeah, but every now, but I see Missouri is beating them, so I'm picking Missouri.
I don't have faith in Missouri's quarterback, and I think with a pro coach like that, he has Boston College's offense going, and I think their offensive line and their defensive line are good enough.
I agree. I agree with everything
they don't get beat down. They keep it within 10.
I agree, but they're also traveling halfway across the country.
Yes,
and for kids, that has an effect for kids.
That's
even
fair.
If they're all making $1 million a year in NIL.
Did you have? I don't. That's interesting. I don't see this game on here.
I went to D3 school. You know what we got? A pair of sneakers. Yeah. We got 2 pairs of sneakers. These guys are getting $1 million to be scrubs. I'm telling you.
That's all they could afford back then.
I know.
I think they were Converses too.
Wait a minute. No. We got Adidas. I might have a couple of years of eligibility left. I may have to go play for somebody and get some NIL money.
The only thing you're eligible for is Social Security.
No, but seriously now, if I get some coach to let me play, walk on his
play
team,
what?
I could play tight end.
No, you cannot.
I can play tight end.
All right.
I just tore my rotator lifting weights, getting back in shape.
All right.
I have to get an operation.
For some reason, you put Arkansas State at Michigan. Arkansas State is Michigan is favored by 24 points.
Yeah. And I'm picking Michigan. It's Arkansas State.
Arkansas State out of the Sun Belt.
Yes, I forgot to put the state part. Okay.
That's okay.
I'm still taking Michigan.
Arkansas State is 2-0. So if they manage to win this game, like Northern Illinois over Notre Dame, that would be a shock, but that would also put them in the driver's seat to get that group of 5 spot. So we'll see.
If they beat Michigan,
the world will stop spinning.
The world will stop. The world stopped last week when Notre Dame lost. The world will definitely stop if Michigan loses this game.
This is amazing. This is my favorite game of the week, and I don't understand how to explain this.
What?
Okay, I'm glad you put this on here. Troy.
Yes.
From Alabama, formerly known as Troy State, Trojans, are going to the Iowa Hawkeyes, who just lost El Assico to their in-state rival, Iowa State.
Yeah.
Somehow, Iowa is favored by 22.5. So they got to win by 23. Guess what the over-under is?
What?
The over-under is 38 points.
Exactly. Take the under.
Iowa averaged 23 points a game last year.
Right.
So not only will they not cover, because they're not going to score 24 points or 23, but they will win this game 17-0 unless Troy just lies down on the field and does not try.
Iowa brought in a new OC last year. For the first time, they're putting
this year. He had to fire his son from last year.
No, it was last year. Okay. That's how they averaged 23 points last year.
Yeah, that was bad.
Iowa, that was bad, but it was better than the 2 points they were scoring historically for the last 100 years. Fifth, Freezy, whatever his name, I can't pronounce his name.
He's been there forever. Yes.
Okay. They've had 3 coaches in the history of Iowa football, and I think the team's like 80 or 90 years old. They had three
I
coaches.
I don't know who
Okay,
the name of the, you made
and
me forget now. Kirk
yeah,
Ferentz.
yes, right. And so this last year he got rid
Uh,
of his son, and he brought
yes.
in an OC. That's how they got up to 23. They're still working on it. Okay, they're like
Working on it
Wisconsin.
forever.
They're like Wisconsin, you know. They got these big farm boys. They put them on a plow and they just run over you.
All right.
Okay, but he's got them passing. They got a guy who can pass the ball. I'm picking Iowa
Okay.
with the 22 and a half points.
Next up, we have a Big Ten ACC matchup. Two former ACC schools. Maryland going to Virginia. Virginia is 2-0. I
Uh-huh.
don't believe they've played anyone.
Right.
I take that back. Virginia beat ACC team Wake Forest 31-30 at Wake.
Uh-huh.
And Maryland lost at home to Michigan State 24-27. This is a very close game.
Yeah.
Maryland is favored by 3 points on the road.
I'm taking Maryland.
I'm taking Virginia.
Okay.
Any team that can lose to Michigan State at home after they blew out UConn,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in them, and I don't believe in their consistency.
You're talking about Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland is not a consistent team, and
I
the fact that
watched.
Virginia could squeak by Wake Forest, they're better than I think.
I saw the game, and Maryland had the game. Made a couple of mistakes at the end, and allowed a field goal to beat them.
Okay.
They should have won that game. Again,
Coulda,
like
coulda,
you said,
woulda.
yeah, sure. If my uncle wore a dress, he'd be my aunt. I know, but you know, Virginia got lucky. Virginia finds ways to win.
You have
You
some
know,
of the most old timey sayings.
even hey, I'm an old timey, but you know, Virginia always finds ways to, whether it's basketball or football or baseball or soccer. Somehow they always manage to win and wind up with winning records, which is a testament to their programs and their coaches and what they're instilling their kids. I know a couple of people went to Virginia and they're solid citizens, you know.
Hmm.
You never hear a scandal or anything come out of Virginia. You just hear about guys who go to school and graduate, and some of them move on to pro level, but most of them move on to solid jobs, you know.
I
So
hear you.
I mean, it's a good school to. I don't know if I would send my kid there, but I have to pick
Oh,
Maryland
wow.
over Virginia. It's a great
Fair enough.
school, great education, great, you know, great social setting. You send your kid away as a kid, they come back grown up after going to Virginia. So, but
Okay.
I'm picking Maryland to beat them.
We have another 3:30 kickoff, I believe. This isn't a night. Oh no, wait, this is 7:30 on CBS. Big 12. We have Colorado going to Colorado State at sunny Lubick Field.
I'm picking Colorado.
Dion.
It's a hard pick.
Is it really?
That's a hard pick. I'm picking with my heart.
Colorado State
Um,
is not good.
I know, but neither is Colorado.
They lost 52-0 to Texas. And the
Colorado,
coach was searching for a play on the board on his sheet that was going
yeah,
to somehow solve that.
Colorado is not good. They don't have an O line. They don't have a D line. They
Their
have two
defense is
guys.
better than their offense.
And that tells you how bad the offense is then, because the
Mm-hmm.
defense is bad. They have two players. This kid Hunter who goes both ways,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Shador.
quarterback. Yeah, that's they
Well,
have
Joe
two
Horn
players.
Jr. is actually he's good. He's just not getting enough credit and not getting him the ball.
Okay.
I think Joe Horn Jr. can play.
Okay.
He
So
can ball.
let's say they got four guys. They got the
Yeah.
other Sanders brother on defense, and they got Joe
Yeah.
Horn Jr. So they got two guys on defense and two guys on offense. There's 100 guys on a college football team. When you got four
Yes.
guys that are good, you got a problem.
That
You
is,
got a
yeah,
problem.
that's an issue.
But I'm picking it with my heart. It's a hard pick, but I'm picking Colorado
Yeah,
with
I
the
don't
6.5.
Colorado State had a lot of people graduate, so I'm not picking them because I don't think they'll be consistent.
But Colorado's favorite. Colorado State is favorite, aren't they?
No, Colorado was favored by 7.
Oh, it is? Okay, I had 6.5 on my line. Okay.
You just had it the other way. Oh no, Colorado's favored by 7.
Right, okay.
So they got to win by 6.5. They got to win by
Right.
7, or you
They
can
gotta
buy
win
the
by
hook and
7.
get it down to
Okay.
6.5.
You got it.
Next up, we have the traditional Big Ten rivalry of UCLA and Indiana.
Yeah, all of a sudden UCLA is in the Big Ten, so now it's a traditional rivalry, huh?
On NBC, the NBC night game, 7:30 p.m.
no one in LA can tell you where Indiana is on a map. So I don't know what you mean about traditional rivalry.
What
Come
are you
on,
talking
man.
about? They play them in basketball all the time. They know these schools.
They just got the football just
Two
got there.
two basketball schools playing football. I love it.
That's right.
It's
That's
like when
right.
UNC plays Houston.
But wait a minute. UCLA is also good at football now.
Since when?
Listen, Woody Strode went to UCLA.
What year was that?
Jackie Robinson went to UCLA.
What century was that?
Who's the quarterback? I can't remember his name. Troy Aikman went to UCLA.
That was the 80s.
Okay, now, whenever. Cheryl Miller went to UCLA.
Also,
Okay.
when she went to USC.
Oh, I'm
Ladies
sorry.
of
She went to
Troy.
USC. Her brother went to no. Her brother went to
Indiana is
UCLA.
getting. Indiana is getting. I think you had that.
17.
That can't be correct. Can
This
it?
is yeah. This is a love pick.
Good
I
Lord.
always pick.
No, Indiana's getting 3.
It's 3. I must have made a mistake on my
You
chart
did.
then. Just like I always bet against Boston College or the Patriots, I always bet UCLA, even if I lose money. It's a love pick.
You're gonna lose money. Take Indiana, folks.
Nope, you got but you have to have some love picks. Now just put $1 on it. Don't lose too much money. Put $1 on it, or $1.50. But
You know who UCLA? Well, UCLA did beat one good team. UCLA beat Boise State,
an up and coming team, a new Pac-10 team.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, they beat them last season for their last game of the year, or I guess that was in a bowl game.
And UCLA,
the only team they beat this year was Hawaii at Hawaii, and they beat them 16-13.
And I saw that game, and
16-13,
and it was closer than that. Hawaii almost beat them.
So yeah,
lock
up Indiana.
They lost their quarterback.
Okay.
And they never had a defense because last year the quarterback was great. He scored 60,
and he left.
Defense would give up 61, they would lose. So, but I have to go with my Bruins. I go back to 1960 with the Bruins. So I'm going with the Bruins.
I hear you.
I was going to move to LA, but the woman I was married to didn't want to leave her family, so I didn't move to LA. So there you go.
Good decision. Then I would have been an LA kid.
You probably would be. You'd be a Crip or a Blood. Which one? No,
I don't think I'd be either. Pitt at West Virginia.
Take the Pitt.
Take the Pitt?
Take the Pitt.
I'm going West Virginia on that one. I think they're gonna. Oh wait, Pitt's at home. Pitt's 2-0.
Yeah.
This is a rivalry game too. West Virginia's favored. Pitt's getting 3.
Yeah.
Pitt was struggling though the other day.
Yeah.
They barely beat Cincinnati.
Right.
They let Kent State put up 24 on them.
Okay.
The only team that West Virginia lost to was when they opened at home against Penn State, who actually has a real offense fully. Gave up 34 points.
In college sports, you get better as the season goes on.
Yeah. So West Virginia should keep getting better.
And so should Pitt.
Do you know who Pitt's quarterback is?
No idea.
Okay. His name is Eli Holstein.
Probably some kid from Western Pennsylvania, because all their quarterbacks seem to come from Western Pennsylvania. The Western Pennsylvania is the birthplace of the quarterback.
In 2 games, I'll give him this. In 2 games, he's thrown for 38 yards and 2 interceptions and 6 touchdowns.
There you go. Jim Kelly, Joe Namath. Did Marino come from there?
But he is a true freshman.
All these guys come from Western Pennsylvania. Somehow they have great quarterbacks.
He's from Zachary, Louisiana.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
in the swamp.
I'm going with the Mountaineers.
Wherever they found this kid in the swamp, he can play.
All right.
I'm picking Pitt.
Shout out to Pac-Man.
You want to mess with Washington and Washington State, our last pick?
Let's pick the Apple Cup. Let's go.
The Apple Cup. I'm going. Well, now, if you're going with the Apple Cup, you should pick Washington State because they're located on the eastern side of the state where the apples are grown.
Correct. But they're playing in Seattle.
I'm picking Washington.
I don't think this would be a huge win for Washington State and Oregon State, and I'm rooting for both of them.
I got you.
But considering how bad Oregon played against Boise, at home, mind you.
Okay.
Boise's got to go down to Corvallis, which is good.
Okay.
Washington is going to Washington State. Washington State is going to Seattle to go play them. So they don't really have an advantage. UW should beat them by a touchdown, but I think they're going to be playing for their lives. And I think this is their Super Bowl because this is the only Pac-12 team that they're going to get to play that left and kind of left them in the dirt. And the deal fell apart for the conference when Washington and Oregon left. And for Washington and Oregon had stayed and not run to the pack to the Big Ten, they actually could have got a deal and got 30-something million a year from one of these TV providers who seem to be picking our conferences for us.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I got to be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I don't care. I'll call it a love pick like you'd like to.
Yeah.
Give me Wazoo. Give me the Cougs. They're going to win.
I'm picking Washington.
Shout out to my guy, Ryan Leaf.
Okay.
Formerly of Wazoo.
Yeah, Wazoo, another scrub in the NFL.
Oh, Lord. You know,
he was a scrub player, and sadly, he was, for a long time, he had scrub issues. So,
but he got his life together, and now he hosts a radio show. So, yes, shout out to him.
Hey, so do we.
And for him clapping back on people on Twitter, because he has some of the most fire clapbacks I've ever seen.
I hear you.
I'll give him that. So but as you like to say, you can't be a has-been if you were a never was. There
you go. You can't be a has-been if you never was. Okay. Yeah. So yes, folks, I'm a has-been. Okay. So there you go.
That is it for us this week. One more thing.
Yes.
I want to touch on the Tyreek Hill incident that went down in Miami and what you have to say about it, and Calais Campbell as well, if you've seen that video.
2 comments. One, well, 3 comments now. I've looked at the video a few times, but 2 comments. 3 comments. One about Hill. Hill has never struck me as a guy who, a well-presented guy, sophisticated guy.
Mm-hmm.
But his statements after the game were very sophisticated, very nuanced, very intelligent. I got a lot of respect for him because of that now as a person. I didn't know him before. Got a lot of respect for him now. He said some things that were very important. One, I support the cops. We have to work together. I'm not against police. We have to work together. That was important for the community. And 2, the other thing he said, which was very nuanced, okay? And if you listen to it and understand what he was saying, you would get what he was saying. He said, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, that was deep.
That was very deep, very nuanced, very brave of him to say.
Yeah.
My 3rd comment, after I've seen the video, is Dade County Police is another reason not to go to Florida. Okay. I don't understand why why the guy's tapping on his window. Maybe he thought, I'm Tyreek Hill. You should let me do whatever I want. Maybe that's what he thought. But the guy banging on the window, and then the guy clearly overreacted.
Yeah.
As I call cops like that, I call them John Wayne. And he was acting like John Wayne. I'm John Wayne. I'm Mr. America. I do it. And he overreacted. I've gotten speeding tickets in 6 states in America: California, Nevada, Colorado, New York, New Jersey, and Arizona.
They never got you in Virginia.
No, 7 states in America. I've never had an issue with getting a ticket. I've never had a cop threaten to pull me out or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of look like Tyreek, except I'm twice his size. So I would think that a cop would be hesitant to thinking I might overreact, and he might overreact. So the cop clearly overreacted. The police association was irresponsible in their statement, trying to protect their cop. Sometimes, when cops are wrong, you have to say, hey, our officer was wrong. That instills trust in police and the community in general. To just automatically defend a cop after seeing that video is ridiculous. But those are my comments. So what do you think, eh? So is that it for us?
No, I would like to say that I like the fact that Tyreek spoke up, and he said that it was very poignant when he said, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? Mm-hmm. And his explanation for rolling the window up was very important. He said, if I don't roll my window up, people who are rolling by the stadium are going to notice it's me, and then they're going to start taking photos and posting it online. True. And I did not think about that from that perspective, because I am not a very recognizable person who, if I'm getting a ticket or something bad's going down, people are going to stop and start recording.
Exactly.
If the police pull me out of my car, they're just pulling me out of my car, and you're not gonna hear about it unless you don't hear from me anymore.
You better
Which
hope
would
an
be
AC.
real bad.
You have to hope an ACLU lawyer driving by will stop. But other than that, I'm with you. They're not
Pretty
going to stop
much.
for us.
Yeah. So I get why he rolled up his window, and there's nothing illegal about that. He had already handed the cop his ID.
Right.
He told him to give him a citation.
Right.
The cop was upset because he felt disrespected by that.
Exactly.
And he reacted to it, and he dragged him out of the car, and he's telling him, hey, man, hey, relax. I just had a knee surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tyreek's not even asking for an apology. He just wants to improve this going forward. Now, his agent, on the other hand, Drew Rosenhaus, may be writing checks that his mouth can't cash, but I like that he's coming out for his client and is going to do well for his business and make him look good. But I like that the two, and Calais Campbell, former Walter Payton Man of the Year, trying to de-escalate the situation. And then there was another player, Jonnu Smith, a tight end, also another large human being, was like 6'4", like 260 something.
Yeah.
One cop's telling him to get back in the car. The other cop's telling him to give his ID. He's like, he just told me to get back in the car. And he's explaining to the cop why he's doing what he's doing.
Right.
So it doesn't seem as if he's disobeying the order. And you can see it right there, how conflicting it is, and how it almost seems like they're trying to set a trap for you to get you to do something that crazy. And I like that everybody's getting to see this, so that they can realize that's not how, even police officers are saying, this is not how we should act. This is not how we treat people. This is abnormal. The cops they were clearly pissed. The two of them were.
Well,
this isn't abnormal to Miami. This is a known issue. So hopefully they get to deal with this.
Exactly.
They get a police chief in, and they're able to fix this. As usual, their police unit is defending them, which is their job, and I understand that completely. But
it doesn't help
you about it. But it gives me a reason not to want to go to a Miami Dolphins game.
There you go.
I'll tell you that.
Now, folks, that's enough commentary. We want you to win some money. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you win some money.
My lock of the week. This is a very important pick. Coastal Carolina is playing Temple. Coastal Carolina is going to Philadelphia. They are favored. It's a 2:00 game. It won't be anywhere on TV. It'll be on ESPN Plus somewhere. Former Coastal Carolina Chanticleer, Isaiah Likely, doing well in the pros. Line opened at 17.5. It has moved up to 18.5.
Who you got?
Temple is not going to score a point. Coastal Carolina is going to beat them 45-10. Temple, I don't believe, will win a game this year. Okay?
So you're picking the Roosters over the Owls, huh?
I'm picking the Chanticleers over the Owls. Temple may be one of the worst teams in college football in the FBS. This used to be a former Big East team, if you remember them up until they got kicked out, I think, for being so bad. And they are still one of the worst teams. It's just been on a decline. They're 0-2. Coastal Carolina's 2-0.
Okay.
They scored 11 points against Navy. They scored 3 points against Oklahoma. Those are both on the road. This is their first home game. The money line is -900 for Coastal. Okay. If you think that Temple's going to win a game and this is it, bet it, because they are +575. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. I would take out all of my money from my 401k and put it on this spread if I had to. Don't do that. But whatever you're going to bet with the most, bet it on Coastal Carolina. That's how much faith I have in this game. Good night. Good luck. Find us on Twitter at the Uptown Parlay. Find us on Instagram on the Uptown Parlay. Find us on Threads at the Uptown Parlay. Yes, we're one of the few people that are on Threads. I'm on there quite a bit, tweeting out my picks. And thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. Find us on Podbean, where we are hosted, and wherever you get your fine free podcasts.
And good night, folks. Make your bets early. Don't lose your money. We want to see you here next Tuesday or next Monday for the Uptown Parlay Wrap-Up Show.
Every Tuesday, you'll hear us in the morning.